morning, Prealgebra. Today we're going to take a look at Chapter 15, Section 2, Probability. 15.2, Probability. Alright, so probability is the likelihood that an event will occur on a scale from 0 to 1, and it's written as a percent. So you can see I've added the scale here. You need to make sure, add this to your notes. It goes from 0 to 1. I have written them as a fraction, then as a decimal, and then as a percent. So we write probability as a percent. So 0 is impossible. That means it's not happening. 25% is unlikely. 50% is equally likely or unlikely. 75% would be likely, and 100% would be certain. That means it's definitely going to happen. Alright, so I have 3 examples here. We're going to describe the likelihood of the event given the probability. So for number 1, we have 80% chance of thunderstorms. Well, that's definitely not exactly one of our stopping points on our scale over here. So you have to ask yourself, is 80%, we know it's going to be between 75 and 100. So is it closer to 75 or is it closer to 100? And in this case, 80 is definitely closer to 75. So describe the likelihood of the event given the probability. So that likelihood would be described as likely. With an 80% chance of thunderstorms, it's likely to happen. Right, number 2, 50% chance of landing a jump on a snowboard. Well, let's find 50% on our chart. It's equally likely or unlikely. And then number 3, 100% chance of the temperature being below 120 degrees. So 100% is certain. We can say with 100% certainty that the temperature will be below 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is finding the probability. So finding the probability of an event. We're going to follow this handy-dandy little formula here. P stands for probability, which means the event. Probability equals the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. So right now I'd like you to pause the video. I'd like you to make sure you have this in your notebook. You can start thinking about this question. So I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, so we're looking at that number cube, 1 through 6. What's the probability of rolling an odd number? Alright, so we're looking for the probability. So what's the number of favorable outcomes? What are our odd numbers? We have 1, 3, and 5. So the number of favorable outcomes is going to be 3. Our number of possible outcomes is going to be 6. There's 6 numbers on the number die, or the number cube. Okay, so if we simplify this, it's 1/2. So it's 1/2 or 50%. Alright, so again, to find the probability, you think about the number of favorable outcomes. Okay, we would like to roll an odd number divided by the number of possible outcomes. There are 6 possible outcomes. So we simplify that, it's 1/2 or 50%. Okay, so the second question is going to be, what's the probability of rolling a number greater than 4? Rolling a number greater than 4. So again, let's think of the probability. How many favorable outcomes do we have there? Well, we only have 5 and 6 that are more than 4, so that would be 2. And the number of possible outcomes is still 6. So if you simplify that, that is 1/3, or a 33% chance. Alright, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put the notebook back under there. There's a spinner and some questions I'd like you to copy. Alright, so we have a spinner. It's got letters in it. Alright, so I want to know what's the probability of landing on A, landing on B, and excuse me, and landing on C. I'm going to pause the video if you'd like to try those. We'll be back together in just a second. Thanks. Alright, so if we look at our spinner, we have A, B, and C sections. And I've asked what's the probability of landing on A. So the number of possible outcomes is 8. The number of favorable outcomes would be 4. There's 4 A's. So 4 out of 8 equals a half, or 50%. Alright, B. My favorable outcomes, there's 3 B's. The number of possible outcomes is 8. Alright, so 3 out of 8. So if I want to change that to a percent, I would divide 3 over 8, and then I would multiply that by 100. So it would be a 37.5% chance. Alright, and then C, there's only one C, so there's one favorable outcome. There are 8 possible outcomes, so it's 1/8, or 1 divided by 8 times 100 is going to give you that 12.5% chance. Alright, I'm going to pause the video and put the notebook back under. Alright, so this next section is called using a probability. And I really would like you to put this one in your notebook. Okay, so the probability that you randomly draw a short straw from a group of 40 straws is 3 over 20. So we're going to figure out how many are short straws. So go ahead and get that copied in your notebook, and then we will talk about this. Pause the video, please. Alright, so to solve this, this is how we're going to approach this. We have the probability of short straws is going to be equal to the number of short straws divided by the total number of short straws. So from here, we're just going to substitute what we know. So looking back at the problem, we know that the probability is 3 over 20. Okay, it tells you in the problem. The probability is 3 over 20. The question we're asking is, how many are short straws? That's what we don't know. We need a variable here. And we also know that there were 40 straws in the group. Okay, from here, this is a proportion. This should look very familiar. So you cross multiply, and then you divide. So n equals 6. So that means in that group of 40 straws, there are 6 of them that are short straws. Okay, I'm going to pause the video. Alright, you can just solve this one in your book if you'd like. In your notebook, not your actual textbook. The probability that you randomly draw a short straw from a group of 75 straws is 1/15. How many are short straws? So we're going to follow the same format that we did for the previous example. So let's think about, what do we know? What's the probability? The probability is 1/15. Okay. We're being asked how many are short straws. That's the piece of information that we don't know, so we're going to need a variable. The group of straws, there's 75. So the total number of straws we have is 75. So again, this should be cross multiply and divide. Divide both sides by 15. So n equals 5. There are 5 short straws. Alright, I'm going to pause the video again. Alright, so we're going to take a look at this question. You might want to write this one down. Again, you can pause the video at any time, so it's not a big deal. All right, at a carnival, the probability that you choose a winning rubber duck from 25 ducks is 24 hundredths. So we're going to answer two questions here. A, how many are not winning ducks? And B, describe the likelihood of not choosing a winning duck. All right, so I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to stick a sheet of paper in here so we can work through this together. You might have to refer back to, you're going to need to refer back to this because there's some definite clues in here. All right, so I'll be right back. All right, so hopefully that'll focus there for us. So in the problem, we know that a winning rubber duck out of 25 ducks, the probability is 0.24 or 24 hundredths. Okay, why is that important? Okay, this is part of how you're going to need to start this. We need to take this and we need to convert this. We're going to convert this to a fraction. Okay. So that means if there were 100 ducks, 24 of them would be a winner, but that's not what we're looking for. All right, so I know this is what we have so far. Okay. We don't know what n is, but we do know there's 25 ducks. So I'm going to cross multiply. And then I'm going to divide. And that cancels. So n equals 6. So what this is this the winning or the losing ducks? Or not a winning duck? So if you look back at the problem, this is the winning duck. Winning ducks. But if you refer back to the question, A is asking how many are not winning ducks. So if we know we have 25 ducks, and we know that 6 of those ducks are winners, then that means we have 19 ducks that are not winners. All right, so that's A. B is asking for you to describe the likelihood of not choosing a winning duck. So if you look back in the first page of your notes, we're referring to that chart. So that 0 to 1 or 100%. All right, so if we know that this is 24%, these are winners. So to find the not winners, all we have to do is subtract 100 minus 24, which is going to give you 76. So 76% are not winners. Oops, I'm sorry, I got a new payment there. Right? So if you look at the likelihood on our chart, there is a 76% chance of not choosing a winning rubber duck. So it is likely that you would choose a duck that is not a winner. Doesn't sound like very good odds to me. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to stick the notebook back under here. Let me pause this for a second so you can figure out what your assignments are. Alright, so your two assignments will be on Schoology. You have one 15.2 exit ticket, and number 2 will be 15.2 textbook assignment. So I'll see you guys on Schoology. See you on the next video. I still miss you guys very much, and I'll see you soon. Remember, you are able to contact me, Mrs. Biansko, anytime. We're here to help you. Call us, text us, email us. We are here for you. See you later.